My name is Jim Roi, and I'm here right now because I want to speak with you. I want to invite you into a conversation with me that's very much the conversation of my life. And it's a conversation that I'm just going to designate as it's about spiritual disease. Not just about it, but it's about spiritual disease. So I want to just introduce it so I could say, well, what is spiritual disease? If we're, dealing with it or speaking about it, what are we speaking about? So I'm going to say, well, it shows up in our lives first of all, it shows up physically, like anything that we keep doing that we would say we don't want to do. So if I keep eating things I don't want to eat, or smoking things I don't want to smoke, or saying things I don't want to say, or sleeping with things I don't want to sleep with, and I'm not at ease, I'm going to say that's a good indicator. We could consider that as a symptom. And if I'm in my mind, if I'm thinking things continuously, repeatedly, incessantly, thinking things that I don't want to think, or remembering things I don't want to remember, or imagining things I don't want to imagine, then I say, that I am not at ease in my mind. That is what I mean by mental disease. And let's see, we try to keep figuring out with our minds what we should get our bodies to do over and over and over again, like the latest diet, because we live with a model of who we are. And this is going to end up relating to I'm a philosopher, so when I say who we are, I mean that like something important. But we keep obsessing, because our model of who we are is an old model. It was given to us 2,500 years ago, sort of, by a guy named Aristotle, who was very famous and was known as the master of those who know, as highly esteemed as a philosopher ever got. But he said man is the rational animal. And I'm going to say we still pretty much hold to that. So we think about what we should do, right? The reason is the executive portion. Animal is like the physical, behavioral portion. And we use our mind to figure out what our bodies should do. And, that pretty much exhausts, that's kind of it on us. We try to deal with the mental. Even today, like I said, Aristotle said that 2,500 years ago. It was updated about 400 years ago by a guy named Descartes, who's famous for his saying, I think, therefore I am. And in his, foundational statements about what we call modernity, but it's just the world we live in, we're thinking beings. We're primarily thinking beings trying to control an extended space around us. And then most recently, if you look around us today, the most powerful, most well-respected, kind of like most cogent school of psychology is known as cognitive behavioral therapy. And if you just listen to the words, cognitive means rational, and behavioral means animal. So it's the same model, updated, and even today the neuroscientists, who have a lot of amazing and fascinating stuff to say about who we are, and what's causing what, how do we work. But they themselves end up with a big, what they call an explanatory gap between our subjective mental experiences and our measurable or verifiable, physical underpinnings, which they want to reduce pretty much to neurons firing. So I'm going to say, this is the model. It's been the model. I'm going to say we're very confused and we're very, very constrained about the model. And that's why I want to invite you into this conversation, because in this conversation we're going to get very unconfused and we're going to open up the model so that we can see that when we've dealt with the rational component, we've dealt with the animal component, we just haven't really gotten at what is essential. So I'm going to say we're suffering from a deficient model of who we are and how we work. And the model of spiritual disease that I want to talk about is a threefold model. And even still, even those who use it, it brings, adding, a third component almost like multiplies a lot of the confusion, but nonetheless it also multiplies the sense of what's possible. So I'm going to say we are rational beings. Aristotle is absolutely right, and we are animal beings. We have a deep, profound, and probably not well enough respected animal nature, but we're fundamentally spiritual. And I'm going to say I hold very directly with like the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous when they say that our disease is fundamentally spiritual, and that when the spiritual malady is overcome, then we straighten out physically and mentally. So this is the area in which I'm going to just say I bring an immense clarity, where we can begin to examine what exactly is the relationship between body, mind, and spirit. What do we mean when we say, that it's a disease of the will? What exactly is the relationship between the will and the intellect? What's the relationship between the will and our emotions? And what is the relationship between our body and our mind in a threefold model? The difference that this will end up making is just unimaginably huge. But I'm just going to count on that you're right now just interested in some dis-ease, that you're doing something you don't want to do, and you're just sick of that noise in your mind, but it won't stop. And I'm going to say, come back. I'm going to post more, utterances about spiritual disease. They're going to make more and more sense. And we're going to actually make a difference in your life by just simply getting clear about who you are and how you work. And for now, I'm going to say, that's all I want to say. My name's Jim Roi. Give me a call. I'm in New York, 212-529-0636. I'm on the web at jimroi.com. That's JIMROI.com. And I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to having a stunningly amazing conversation with you. That's all.